Hey Nick, this is Adrian Gomez. Thanks for coming to the camp. I really think you have a great ability to do some things, especially with your age and how hard you throw. Out of the back leg, you do a great job of staying into about 100 degrees. When you're here, your knees going this way. What I'd like to see happen is I'd like to see it turn inside a little bit. So I want to get it in a little bit this way, because what happens is when you're about to throw that back hip, because your knee has been turned so far out, it's actually flipping. Your leg comes off the ground, and when your leg comes off the ground, there's no power out of the back leg, so you're throwing with majority arm. So that's something that you can definitely improve upon for sure. So you do squat out of your back leg, but how you put your knee inside is really affecting how much you can push, and it's definitely taking your foot off the ground. So let's get into the next one. As you plant, let's see here. Plant. We have about 11 degrees difference in your knee when you plant. You're just about to plant, so I want to land here. When you're landing, I want your knee to be over your ankle somewhere there, and that's going to help everything drive through. Your leg continues to come up, and that's really, you're missing a lot of power that you could continue to drive into that front knee. Part of the reason why the leg comes up is because you have a lot of movement in this front knee, and so it's trying to stabilize. So that's something I definitely want you to fix. That's a weakness. External rotation of your front leg. At plant leg, we're sitting at 111 degrees, which is pretty fabulous. That's good extension with your leg, and we want to be really around over 110. So we could get further. We could get a lot further. Maybe another 4 or 5 inches with your front leg. So that's fabulous. That's not something you got to work on. As you rotate into this front leg, we're at 135 degrees, and your knee comes back, which is what we want. So let's see what happens as you throw the ball. You come back, and that's something that is good. Your knees coming back and retracting. It would be even better if your leg was on the ground, so that you can turn your hips and not have to bring your knee up. Your hips should be rotating, not your knee drawing up. So that's huge. That's going to be huge to fix that back leg, and there's that back leg is fixable. That's something that we can teach you to do with our online program. That's $16 a month. All right, posture at ball release. Your posture at ball release is there. Okay, so this is your posture. If you trace it back up, you're here, and then I have to spin and turn my arm really, really far. So big head movement. What I'd like to see happen is I'd like to see you're I'm seeing your back, and I'm seeing all of your arms. So I think you're over rotated. This is what we call crossing the acromial line. So you're crossed quite far. And so I want you're really crossing. You can see how your chest is crossed so far. I'd like to see your upper body stay back, and when you're here, I want your head up in that position, so that when you go and throw, my head's right on track. So that's something that's pretty easy to do. It's going to be a little bit uncomfortable at the start, but I think in the end is going to help you really change and be the person that you want to be. So that's posture at ball release. Let's look at launch. As you drive the ball, your body, your launch is right over your toes. It's what we call a marginal launch. It's a little bit too early, and if I can get out here, then we're really starting to do something. The reason why you're not getting out there is because you're crossing your body this far, and by the time you want to go throw the ball, your arm has to come outside of that elbow because it's compensating for this over rotation of your upper body. So it's huge if we can fix that over rotation and just stay back like we talked about in this position, more like this position, then you're going to be in a completely different release point. So that's going to be huge. So moving into stacking and acromial, and you do a good job of your upper body staying back, but I don't want to I want to make sure that you don't go forward. You can see how your chest is forward. I don't want that. I want back. I want straight up and back. So this head is over that rubber as long as possible. This knee is turned inside. Toe is turned inside. Everything's inside, so that when you start driving, you can see how your chest goes down. Then I have to come all the way up and then get through. So that's just too much movement, and we could simplify it that much more, and that would increase velocity, and your arm's going to feel a hell of a lot better. So stacking is something I want you to work on. Also, the acromial line, you're crossing too much, and then I have to overcompensate to rotate through. All right, so we're going to move to front glove. You do a good job actually coming through and pinching, but your arm rotates back this way. I want to clear it. I want to clear and drive through. Part of the reason why your chest isn't coming through is that front knee, but initially you pinch really well with that front glove, but look at where it drops. It drops straight down. So I want to see more rotation this way across your body instead of down. I don't want it to go down. So front glove, that's something I want you to work on and just be cognizant of it. Chest, we're going to look at high elbow. So we have a little bit of a low elbow as you come through. The elbow's a little bit low, and let's look at this. Yeah, it is a little bit low. The reason why it's low is because as you're back here, you can see your arm, and I can see all your back and your elbow, and by that time you're going to have to get all the way through, and the only way to do that is to keep this elbow low and to rotate through. So what I'd like to see happen is you only get to about here and not all the way back there. Just simplify it and then be able to drive through. You're going to be in a completely different position. So I want you to get your elbow up a little bit to that 80 degrees, and that's something we can measure to help you with. But that low elbow definitely is putting some pressure on your shoulder, and I don't want that to happen. I want to be as stress-free as possible. So I really think that we can get you to be more efficient by stopping that cross. Next one is I want to get into the chest extension. So the chest extension here, I am getting off of your back hip and up to your chest about 42 degrees, which is actually pretty good. I'd like to see upper 40s. we're talking 2 or 3 inches. The reason why that this isn't this isn't as far is this back leg comes up, and you can see it come up. If that back leg was straight and you were rotating with your hips, if your hip rotation was here, then your leg would be on the ground, your hips would be rotating, and your chest could go further because it has that counterbalance of the back leg. And that's going to be huge for you. So chest extension could improve for sure, but it's already pretty good. In the 40s is fine, but I want to be upper 40s just to be able to get there. So now we get into the last one, lay back. Your arm lays back pretty well. Let's look at it. Yep, very, very good layback. So good layback. But I'm going to take a cross section of your elbow, and let's see how far outside of that elbow it has to go. The reason why, because it's all the way back here. The only place for it to go, your chest can't rotate fast enough. You have to make up ground for this over rotation, and then all of a sudden I've got to go out and finish this side. Okay? So I'd like to minimize this to where your chest is coming through. I'm not over rotating, and I'm starting here to there, and I'm driving quicker and more efficiently. And if I could get this arm in this position to make sure that your elbow's not bent, or that it is bent and not straight, you're going to be able to drive with more power through that upper body. You're going to be throwing with your body and not your arm. But right now, it is quite a bit of arm, and I think there's a lot more velocity in you that's not in there right now, that if we fix that. So that forearm flyout is something that I want you to work on. Online, you have access to all the videos to fix that weakness. Everything is on there. So, and then the last one would be a acromial line. I'd like to get you to start here and drive through, as opposed to getting really far back. So I think that's a disadvantage that you're putting yourself into, that if you fixed, it would clean up a lot of these other issues. So thanks for tuning in. Please don't hesitate to contact me. Thanks for everything.